World of Warcraft is one of those haha you nerd kind of franchises, but if you get past that, you will find a game that's honestly pretty unique, tragic, epic, and thought-provoking franchises ever. For the most part. Warcraft's world is very cool by itself, but it does struggle by the fact that it has to be an MMO game. It's a little boring if you're just by yourself, and Blizzard is a terrible company. Most of the time playing, you'll basically just be go get a group of friends and go commit war crime. So eventually they decided to make a movie based on the franchise, specifically based on the first game, Orcs and Humans. Yes, Warcraft did exist before WoW. So after an opening establishing that orcs and humans hate each other, we cut back into past on Draenor, the orcs' home planet, and my gods, it looks gorgeous. I mean, just look at these orcs! They look like WoW orcs, but in 4K. Either way, we meet Durotan and his maid Draka. They're the heads of the Frostwolf clans, and if you don't know about Warcraft, then you are going to be kind of surprised that these orcs are aliens from the planet Draenor. Led by the warlock Gul'dan, Draenor is dying, so they built a giant gate to find a new home. Gul'dan powers it with a mysterious bright green magic, which is fueled by the souls of dead Draenei. Draenei are not native to Draenor. They are goat aliens from the planet Argus, but that doesn't matter for this film. Either way, the orcs travel to Azeroth. They make it there, but oh no, Draka is going into labor. She gives birth, but there's some complications, so Gul'dan siphons the life from a deer into him. Then we cut to Anduin Lothar. No, not that Anduin. This Anduin is played by the guy from Vikings and raised by wolves. He's here establishing that Warcraft does have guns, and then he gets called to Stormwind, as they keep finding bodies and people keep talking about weird creatures attacking. And the coroner, Khadgar, doesn't really know what's going on. So they go check on the Guardian, Medivh, which is basically the magic pope. They ask him what's going on, but he's busy with a golem. So Khadgar starts looking around, but Medivh doesn't like that, so he decides to actually tell him what Fel is. Fel is a destructive Mountain Dew colored magic. It drains hit points rather than mana. And it dyes stuff green, like Blood Elf's eyes and Orc skin. So they head back to Stormwind and interrupt a game of HeroClix, tell the king what's going on. They send a detachment, but they get ambushed by the orcs. We meet Anduin's son, and Medivh just casts a spell that kind of just eradicates all the greenskin orcs. The humans capture Garona, the half-orc, and she tells them what's going on. Meanwhile, Durotan's talking to Orgrim, and Durotan's kind of realizing this Fel stuff is kind of nasty, and it's probably the stuff that drained Draenor. So he's trying to form an alliance to overthrow Gul'dan. The humans and Garona are nearby and realize what's going on. So Durotan finds them, and he actually wants to make an alliance between the humans. They convince the king to agree to this, as Khadgar is doing some research on the portal, but Medivh burns all his research, except for one, which discusses that gateways are like gateways. You have to open one portal to get to another one. They meet with the orcs and discuss their alliance to overthrow Gul'dan, but it was an ambush. Medivh makes an electric barrier to save the humans, just for Anduin's son to be on the other side and gets mutilated by Blackhand. Whoops. That took a lot out of Medivh, so they take him back to his place, put him in a pool to regenerate, but oh no, he's got Fel eyes. So Khadgar runs to the Magic Council. Meanwhile, Durotan's getting sent to prison. Medivh tells Garona that he's definitely her father, and then teleports her away. And then finally, Khadgar makes it to Dalaran, which is floating, even though it shouldn't be floating yet. He tells the Magic Council, and he opens a magic box, goes inside, and the spirit of the box tells them that Medivh is cursed and is evil, and we already knew that, so this was kind of pointless. Medivh corrupts the pool. Anduin's also in prison, but Khadgar busts him out. Orzammar frees Durotar. As the White Wolves are getting massacred, Draka moses her son down the river, which is wrong. Draka fought to the end, and Thrall was abandoned right next to her dead body, until he was discovered by humans, which set up the plot to Warcraft 2. Next day, Durotan finally gets his iconic White Wolf hood. He challenges Gul'dan to personal combat, and he agrees, and Shang Tsung steals his soul. Meanwhile, Anduin and Khadgar are fighting the Guardian. Orgrim Doomhammer says this is wrong, calls Gul'dan a demon, but this rebellion is cut short when him and his friends are also getting their souls drained. which is really wrong because Orgrim lived very long into the events of Warcraft 3. Orgrim meets Thrall. Thrall's hammer is Orgrim's. Either way, Blackhand is charged up to be Super Blackhand, as the humans arrive, of an army to destroy the portal. Meanwhile, Khadgar and Anduin are fighting a golem, powered by Thel. It's kinda cool, but we cut back and forth between these two fights way too often. The portal's open, Medivh turns into a mother effing demon, but then a golem falls on him. I guess this clears his mind enough to change the portal to go back to Stormwind, which is incredibly wrong. 1. Stormwind at this point in the lore should have been completely bulldozed by the orcs. 2. If we're gonna ignore that and say Stormwind wasn't destroyed, for the sake of this film, but there's not another gate in Stormwind, so this couldn't happen unless off-screen Medivh built another black gate. 3. The humans shouldn't even know about them. 4. Because Stormwind is gone, this should be the army of Lordaeron. And 5. How have we not established Sargeras, the basically Satan of the franchise who has a part of his soul within Medivh, who purposely told the orcs about Fel so he can have an army of meat shields to go to Azeroth to conquer it for him so he can get the Titan soul. Yes, I'm a fucking nerd. Let me have my tangents. Honestly, at this point, I'm more amazed they didn't find some BS way to introduce Arthas and Illidan early. Anyways, the portal closes as Medivh dies, so the king tells Corona that they should kill him, because the orcs think that killing the enemy's chieftain is very honorable. So after some hesitation, she does, and the orcs do actually do this. Anduin drops in, fights Blackhand. Due to honor and fair fighting, they actually agree to let them go. The King of Stormwind is dead, but this actually unites the realms of Azeroth into the Alliance of Lordaeron, which nothing bad will ever happen here. And eventually Thrall is found by humans. That was Warcraft the film. It has a lot of problems, but I actually did like it. The film is absolutely gorgeous, perfectly recreating a lot of the familiar locations and familiar designs from the games, which shows the creators did actually know about Warcraft and did like it. The acting's really good, but it skips over or changes a lot from the lore. The big battle should be more grand, but it's a little too zoomed in on the characters. There's a lot of reiteration. It's not perfect, but again, I still liked it, and even if you ignore that it's connected to the game series, it's still pretty good, which is more than I can say for most video game adaptations. I'll give this a 7.5.